inspiration when you come across someone who's been through some dark times and come out shining. Sometimes those are the greatest inspiration stories that you can ever hear. Someone who's been from the streets, done everything in the street, and then come out to be someone being looked at and being depended upon. This is Now Tell Us. I'm your host, Anthony Murore. At Now Tell Us, we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and give us something of value. Always is a great time when we are having guests come here. Today we have a guest who's known as John Kimble. He's going to be here shortly to tell us how he's been from the sick ward, done felonies, being arrested, and much more. But let me not take one more minute because I know that John has a lot to tell us. Before we go to meet John, I would like to ask you to please share this episode with all your friends. If you have a question, please ask. We appreciate feedback. Also, comment whether you're watching it live or the recorded version. We want to thank you in advance. And now, please join me as we go together to meet our guest today, John Kimble. Here we go. Hello, John.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going, bro?
It's cool, bro. Good to see you.
Good to be on here, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, from which part of the world are you tuned in?
It's America, bro. The United States in Simsport, Louisiana. Yeah, it's Louisiana.
Uh,
Probably further away from where you're at.
yeah, definitely. I'm on the other side of the world.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, some place that people like to fly to come and see history because
Oh,
they
okay.
are known as the mother of civilization, the
Yeah.
Greeks. So this is Now Tell Us, and you're here to tell us a few stories and give us some inspiration because we love inspiration at Now Tell Us. So we can start by where is it that you were born? You were born there where you're living now, or did you move there?
No, I was always here. I was always raised here. Good medium class, good parents. But I'm originally adopted. Actually, I'm Cuban, so my descendant is Cuban. My birth dad was Cuban. I never known him. I never knew my birth dad, my birth mom, or my birth siblings. And but moved over here, got adopted, and that's just what it is. But I'm originally from here. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's quite a story. Being adopted is not. I mean, when you have been adopted and are growing, experiencing things around you, you're seeing people with their birth parents bringing them up. I know. I I I cannot imagine how that feels. I've been there, but you've been there, so this is why you're here to tell us. So, how was it growing up from an early age? Did you realize that things were different from the other people around you? Or how was it?
Yeah, no, I grew up in a very Christian based home. I've always was really invoked into Jesus and everything, right? But I became friends with the wrong people. I actually became friends with his brother was like the biggest known drug dealer in the city, and I became friends with the little brother. And ever since then, that's when I really started like smoking dope, hanging out with them. And your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So who you hang around, you ultimately become to be. So I started hanging around that and just got influenced by the wrong thing, and immediately that ended down in a bad path, leading one thing to another. But that's originally how it started, man. It was like, just hanging out with the wrong crowd.
And that's a strong point. The people that you hang around are going to influence whom you become. Uh, the actions that you take and the direction that you head in life. So it's important to be careful about those people that you hang around.
100%, bro. 100%.
Yeah. So did that happen from school or from your neighborhood?
No, yeah, it happened from school. It actually did
Mm-hmm.
happen from school because in the neighborhood, there's nobody in my neighborhood. I mean, it's just me. I live on a bayou. You know what I'm saying? Like so. Yeah, it was in school.
Okay. And now you started taking dope. You started maybe being a dealer or something. Or you,
Yeah, yeah, right. So it originally started by with that and me leading down the wrong path, and then I started. Actually, the first thing that started it was some gang violence. So me and that buddy was getting involved into something, and it was at like this fair, and we were supposed to fight this guy, and this is the time where I almost got jumped, and he brought like 22 guys with him. So we're walking down. It was just me and my one buddy, and then we're walking down this alley, this street to go fight, and then people kept like rolling up on us, like surrounding us, and I got threats that day that I was gonna get jumped. So ultimately, like I started fearing my life, like because there was 22 people around us. I counted. It was like 2 versus 22. There was no way we were getting out of there alive. That was one of the moments where I feared death and actually had that one of the moments where I actually treasured God. So, because I started praying to Him as my only source, because once your mental and physical strengths disappear, your soul takes over, and you start to look for something way higher beyond man, something like a way higher frequency like God. So that's what I was looking for. So, I mean, we was walking down, and I was just praying to God and praying to God. And then right when we stopped and we was about to fight, he backed out of the fight because he said I would snitch. And that was a real turning point in my life where I started believing in God a whole lot more when that happened. Because that was one of the times where I feared death. But yeah, ultimately that's where it all started. And then that led to like more fights and then the drug deals, of course. I used to deal Percocets. I used to sell them to students, to the students' moms, all kinds of stuff like that. But that's just what it was. So that's just the life I was going down and living.
hmm. And you came across the law, and got arrested. Was it once? Or how was the? How was it? Because I know it's something that is against the law. It's against the society that you're doing. So you always careful on where you go to deal or where you go to take dope. So how was it? You're running out and about.
Yeah, right. So I was always hooked on like drugs. I always wanted that high, right? So
Mm,
that buddy asked me to come over because they had a dealer, we was gonna buy from. So I was like, well, God dang, I don't have any money. So I was like, well, let me go just rob this house. So there was a guy's house. We was like, I really wanted to have like a structured, organized crime group. So I bought cameras and everything else to set up to rob this house, but they didn't work. So at that time, I just came up with a game plan, and I robbed this guy's house for money for weed. So he had weed in his house though. I robbed his house like 3 times in one day. He already had drugs in his house, so I was like, oh, I don't need the money because there's drugs in the house. So I smoked the dope that night, and then like 2 days later, the cops was looking, and I was on the run. I was hiding in my house. I would see them pass across the street and everything, and I was like, oh man, this is something. And that's really something though. When you really think you're about that life and you want to go down that path, immediately when something bad happens like that, then you start to second guess yourself. But anyway, yeah, I was riding my four wheeler to like discard the evidence, and there was a gang warden sitting on the side of the road. So that led into like a 10-15 minute chase everywhere, and he chased me and everything. And I hopped off the four wheeler. I started running. I had like a box of drugs in one hand and a gun in the other hand, and I kept running. But then I ultimately, of course, I stopped. I threw everything, and then I got arrested for like possession of a deadly weapon, possession of stolen goods, possession of illegal drugs, fleeing from police, and breaking and entering. And that costs a lot of money, that's for sure. But that's the thing. It's like the law of polarity. You can't experience highest highs if you haven't experienced the lows of lows. So ultimately, that arrest and everything was the prerequisite to my success. Because if I would have never experienced that, I would have never experienced the knowledge and wisdom that I attain now through all the failures I've overcame in my life.
So how long did you spend in custody? Were you charged? What was the
No, because I mean, I knew what I was doing. I knew that the guy wasn't gonna
Mm-hmm.
press charges on me and everything. I mean, I had to go to juvenile court, and then they gave me a punishment or whatever. But that really wasn't anything.
How old,
And
how old were you back then?
I was like 15.
15. Okay.
Yeah, 15. And
Mm-hmm.
the bad thing was, this is what I say all the time, right? I saw all the pain I was causing to my people, because I realized that once you exist outside the bounds of yourself, and you realize that what you do actually has a bigger effect on people around you than it does you yourself. And I saw the pain I was causing to them, and I was like, man, dude, this is really not worth it. I mean, my mom was in tears. Like, I caused so much pain to her, she had to get on medication and everything. Um, and I had to go to the psych ward because of all the stuff I was doing. I mean, the night before I got admitted into the psych ward. We was drunk. I was drunk with a friend, and we crossed over on this dude's property, and I just started cursing him out and threatening to kill him and everything. And then that night, my dad slammed the door in my face, saying, "Oh, maybe you do need to go to a psych ward, to a mental hospital." And then, man, it was just all the pain I was causing to my people. Like, what you most wish to receive within yourself is what's most needed to be given externally onto others. So if you give out negativity, you'll receive it back in within yourself. Same thing with positivity. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So was that, I mean, is you say you came to you started to realize the pain that you are causing. So you made a turnaround at that point, or did it take time before you reformed?
Yeah, it takes time for that stuff, but honestly, once you've been through some stuff, I mean, you really transcend self to a higher level. When you experience real lows, you can really experience the highest of highs if you've really went through some stuff. Because when I was in the psych ward, I mean, I tried to take my life twice. I try to what do you call it? I don't know. I try to dislocate my throat from my neck twice, and I got admitted into a psych ward. And the thing in there is, you do so much reflection, right? Because they wanted to put me in an isolated room to watch me, observe me through a window, and they had to shine a flashlight in my eyes every 5 minutes, and the metal door slamming, because they were scared I was going to withdraw or seize out or die. So I was all alone, isolated by myself that night, sleeping on like a thin, paper thin mat. And you do a lot of reflection when you travel alone. A man does most reflection when he travels alone. So I did a lot of work inside internal dialogue, and I realized that what I was doing was not aligned with the person that I wanted to become. And that was a real turning moment in my life, actually, when I was in the psych ward, because, like I said, you're around a bunch of weirdos in there. And then you fear, because any moment you could get transferred to a new block or a new wing where it's completely new people and they don't know who you are. And a lot of people want to just fight in there,
Mm.
so you also have to stay mentally and physically ready for war in there. So you really have to do a lot of self work and reflection, and that is one of the turning moments where I changed in my life.
And then you came out. That was, I guess, you were in what stage of schooling? At what level? At
Yeah,
what grade?
yeah, I was in 11th grade actually at the time, and
Uh,
it was worse when I came out. Anybody that's been to a 5150 knows what I'm talking about. When you come out, it's ultimately worse. And I mean, I came out. Actually, I tried to take my life when I came out, and I started having panic attacks, like hyperventilating in class, and had to run out. But dude, that's all made up in the mind. Now, maybe I still struggle with the same stuff internally, but I know through my process like my program and everything. This is how I preach it so good because I lived it. I've transcended myself from the lowest of how I was into the high of who I am now because I used that process over and time again because I use my self-talk and my internal dialogue to really transcend self and to push past those mental disorders because they wanted to diagnose me as a sociopath in the psych ward. They wanted to send me to rehab. They wanted to do all this stuff, put me on medication, give me a therapist. But I was like, no, I don't need any of that. The only thing I needed to do was actually look in that self accountability mirror and call myself out on all the flaws and everything I was doing wrong. Once you're truly true to yourself and you're accountable for all your wrongdoings in life, that's when you truly get to change. You know, when you're really accountable to self. And
How
that's what
old
happened
are you? How old are you, if I may ask, at
right
the
now.
moment? Yeah.
I'm 18. I just turned 18.
Wow. So we are talking of a duration that is less than 5 years ago. That's when things were happening, and then changes have happened during this period.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. Now, there's one thing when you see a young man who is growing and is who has come to the realization that the direction that they are going is not the right direction, and then they make a turn around and start making an impact in the world. That's such a great inspiration. And as you say, you've been to the lowest of lows, so you can always be ready to go to the highest of highs, and take the lessons you learned from when you are down. So you are an inspiration to someone who could be listening out there, someone who could be going through school and is facing challenges, is being influenced into the wrong direction. So at this point, may I ask, are you through? Are you in college, or did you just reach to some point where you say that's enough schooling? Now I better go out there and do something with my life.
Yeah, no, man. I don't go to. I'm not in college. I run a fitness business, an online training fitness business, because like I said, I've transcended myself to the highest level, and I know that through peak physical performance, intense physical action, you can elevate past all those mental illnesses that you believe exist. So if I every single time when I see kids in my school dealing with so-called depression or anxiety, I just want to slap them because I just tell them all the time it's just something you create in your mind. If I was in the psych ward, I tried to kill myself twice. I elevated past it. You know, even peak physical performance in the psych ward would elevate me past all that negativity in there. Just getting your heart rate up, that helps. If somebody, right when they felt like drinking or smoking, if they dropped down and did like 50 push-ups, they would not feel like have that same desire and temptation to do that again. You know, so that's the only thing about it, bro.
So how long have you been doing the physical fitness as a business?
And I've been doing it for about 10 years, training for 10 years, because it originally started when people just started asking me questions on how to improve their life when they saw me improve mine. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll help you. And I didn't even know it was a business at the time. I just wanted to help them. So I just started helping them out and just training all these people and getting them better. I mean, I had clients in India. You know, like I had a bunch of clients because I was just taking on people wanting to help them for free. But now I'm starting to monetize it. And it's such a good process and program because when you get in there, you're changed for life, right? Because I make you think a certain way. It's the law of exposure. Once you're exposed to something, there's no going back. Like me, now that I'm exposed to this elevation of my conscience and mindset, there's no going back, right? So all the people that is in my program think a certain way and act a certain way because they're exposed to my mindset, right? And that's what my program teaches because what I use to overcome like my suicide attempts, the anxiety I was facing, whatever. That's what I teach in my program. That's what I use every single day to strengthen me. I get up at either if it's not 2 a.m. or 3:45, I haven't missed an early wake up in like 530 days in a workout because that's what structures me and that's what I teach in my program.
Yeah, and results tell. We when we look at you, we can see the results of what you've been doing. So if if the person who's listening or even those who are watching can see you, and they see the outcome, how you look, and then
Exactly. Like
yeah.
you're struggling with something and people are so depressed. Like there's these fat dudes in my goddamn like class, right? And I'm like, dude, diet harder, like get harder, you know, and then you'll feel way better. Like if you just dropped down right now and did some push-ups or something, you'd feel 10 times better about yourself, and you wouldn't be. It's boredom. They get too bored. They're just stuck in their perpetual pleasure chasing, seeking happiness in the same place they lose it, eating the foods that always lead them to depression. They're playing video games. They're doing nothing that takes them towards their purpose. They're always
Mm,
either past regressing towards something that happened in the past, or they're forward projecting to future anxiety that may never come to pass. You know what I'm saying? They're
mm,
never in the present moment. You have to stay in the present moment. I'm in the present moment right now with you on this call. So I'm
mhm.
not really focused on any future anxiety or past regression. You know, that's all it is. It's just staying in the present moment, doing what you can with what you have now until you get more. So that's all it is. Creating the
Mm,
best you in the moment. Because if you're not proud of yourself, then you're not proud of that moment. You're never going to be truly present in the moment if you're not proud of yourself. I'm proud of myself with the body and the mind I've created, so I'm always in the present moment. I love life. I love life every single second because I've created me, a person that can walk through life enjoying it.
mm. Wow. Wow. So that's such a great insight that you've shared right there with us. So we've got to be focused in the now, appreciate the now so that we can get a better future ahead.
Oh
And
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and that's good. So you going back a bit, you mentioned about being in the training for about 10 years. So it means even when you are going out there in the street,
2 years, yeah.
you're still lifting weights, you're still taking some physical exercises that are building your body. Now the question is, do you think that there are many youth out there who are misguided even as they are working out and they are going in the wrong direction right now that could follow your path, and what could be done to bring them back on track?
It's always it's always peak physical action, intense physical action, right? And your self-talk that always realigns you with the 10.0 version of yourself. If you're out of line with yourself, and if you're dealing with a problem like depression or anxiety or whatever you call it, right? If you go help somebody else who is depressed and anxious, then you in return will get helped out yourself, right? Because ultimately we magnify our problems when we sit and really think about it all the time. If we instead just got up, like did some action, and then go helped out somebody who was dealing with the same thing, then we would get helped out ourselves because we are becoming the source of what we seek. So we're giving out to others what we wish to possess within ourselves, and that's what you have to do. And then people don't realize it, right? They think it's just like a diet plan or something, but it's what changed my life. It changed my life. My diet, my macros, and my nutrition and training changed my life. That's where you actually start. For like, people spend $10 a day on useless stuff, right? $10 a day to get your life back. $10 a day to change the way you look at yourself in the mirror. And ultimately, if you're not proud of yourself when you look in the mirror, if you're not proud of that person looking back, then your people aren't either. You know.
Hmm. And the person who could be watching us here could be someone who is already on that path of self-improvement, someone who could be looking for an inspiration like the one that you're sharing right now. Uh, but I would like to maybe focus again on that previous question, because I'm thinking of those people who are out there and they don't have an idea that there's a different direction that they could be going. Now, you having been there in the lowest of lows, what would you suggest that we could reach them? What ways could we use to reach them? Those people who are in that position and situation.
Well, I mean, anything works. There's a lot of ways you can reach them. Like the way I found positive stuff was through just watching podcasts and YouTube. Just ingesting positive stuff because ultimately that's what led me to do the negative stuff was hanging around people that were negative. So if you just get around and listen to everything that's positive, especially in the morning, I mean, then you're on like a forward projection to a way more positive future. So it's just through like the internet because especially like teens are so easily influenced. So why don't they just listen to something that's positive? Then they're really easily influenced.
Yeah, and we will suggest them to this show so that they can get some insight from it. Now, you are a trainer. What's the process of someone getting to be trained by you?
Oh, well, we just get them in the app. I change their macros. I change their nutrition. I give them a workout and diet plan. And we get on, it's like a 60-minute Zoom call, just a Q&A with them in the group. That's what we normally, that's on my mid-level program. It's mainly just mindset training and nutrition based. And it's like I said, it's like $10 a day. It's like $300 a month, $750 for 3 months, $2,000 for the year. And then there's my elite level program where we really focus in on your addiction and what's really causing a serious problem. And that's like $1,500 a month. Like that's really like 3,000 for 3 months. That's really life face focus. It's like somebody who's going down like the path of addiction, like alcohol or drugs or something like that. Something that I went down and changed my life. Because I mean this is life changing stuff. It's more than just like I said, a diet and nutrition plan.
Hmm. So you've been addicted before. So how did you come out of it? And yeah, how easy was it? How hard was it?
Well, it was very listen. What therapists do, this is why they prescribed me to a therapist, right? So
Mhm.
right before I went in, got admitted into the psych ward, I had a mouthpiece, and I chewed on that mouthpiece. It looks like a dog toy now, dude, because I was craving alcohol. So when I got in there, like I said, they had to put me in a special room because of how much alcohol I was consuming. So, and they wanted to take me to rehab. They wanted to take me to a therapist and all that, but I didn't really listen to any of that. I woke up off of the couch from a bad hangover one day. So I snorted some pills, I drank some alcohol, smoked some weed, and I realized I got up. Like I ran into the bathroom mirror. I looked myself in the mirror, and I was just calling me out. I was calling everything. I was just calling me out on everything I was doing wrong. So I was really taking accountability with all my negative actions and wrongdoings. I was being true and honest to myself how I really felt after waking over, after consuming that alcohol and that drink and that smoke. I ran 5 miles right after that, and my self talk was directly aligned with the person I wanted to become. And that's what really changed my life and stopped me drinking the alcohol and doing the drugs. It was because I woke up off of the couch. It was actually this couch I'm sitting on right now. This exact couch. I got up off of it. I ran in the mirror, looked at myself in the mirror, called myself out on everything I was doing wrong. Intense physical action. I ran. I got my heart rate up, and while I was doing that, my thoughts was constructing towards the person that I wanted to become. The non-addict. The physically fit, the mentally well. That's what we have to do. Like the therapists just magnify the problem. We don't even think about that. The drink. We don't try to fix that. We try to fix ourselves, and ultimately that gets fixed itself.
Hmm. Wow. So someone listening out there need to wake up and talk to yourself in the mirror and consider the direction that you're taking.
Of
And if you
course,
need
yeah, it's all
help,
about
yeah, go
It's all
on.
about honesty, yeah, because I mean, you can't expect to run away from the problem instead of run right into the solution. And what the solution is what's everybody's most avoiding,
Mm,
because it hurts so bad to really think about it and seek deep within yourself from that problem, inside that problem. But that's what's most needed to be done is to really go in, seek, and think, and really do some internal work and dialogue within yourself to see what's wrong with you.
mm,
Not just run away by drinking again. I mean, you're just gonna keep backtracking.
mm,
That's the same thing with fat people with food. Like if they keep eating and indulging in these sweets and everything, and they wonder why they feel so bad about themselves, it's because they consume something that's bad for their
mm.
body. So they should really seek deeper into the problem and face everything that's hardest for them to face. If you
Yeah.
get up and do what you thought you couldn't do, and if you get up and run right into everything that you most wish to avoid, you will get so much clarity back in return. That's what I do every day. That's what I do every day. With my morning process, I get up early, early, early. I go to the gym. I kill myself in the gym just to walk out of it completely aligned with my best self, completely free from any negativity and desires and temptations. And that's what I teach in my program. That's why it's so good because it frees you. It's freedom. That's what the program is. It's freedom. It's not just muscles, it's freedom. The body is the byproduct of the internal work you put forth to yourself, you know.
So give us a direction of how to find you and how to get into your program.
They can find me on Instagram. I post there every single day. Like I said, I haven't missed a post on there in like over 530 days because I care about my followers. That's my people right there, you know. And that's Kimble underscore fit. And my website is kimblefit.com. It's pretty simple. You know, I just, and on the website, it's just some free information, and it's where you can like send in your email and link up with me. But you can always, I'm always in my DMs on Instagram, so I'm always on Instagram.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that and for letting us know how we can find you. Before we go, because we are almost signing out of this episode, can you leave us with a few words that we should always remember? Which are they coming from John?
Yeah, this is my quote I always live by, right? This is the one I said, if you ever feel like nothing, get up and do something that's worthy of feeling like someone. Because this was the quote that I live by literally all my life without thinking of it. Because I didn't change, right? I never changed my life until I actually got up and helped out someone else with their problems and ran into it through action. So, what you most wish to receive within yourself is what's most needed to be given unto others. Go help out somebody. Wake up thinking, how can I best serve other people? Not how other people can best serve me.
Go out there and serve other people. It could be your calling, could be your purpose on this planet. And say that John said that because he did. And thank you very much, John, for sharing with us all that you've shared with us on this episode. We really appreciate you coming.
Thank you for having me, man. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, this has been Now Tell Us. I've been your host, Anthony Moirore. And I remind you to go join John in the journey of transformation. He's a good guy doing good things. And until next time, coming from Anthony Moirore, your host, and our guest, John Kimble, we are saying bye for now.
Let's go.
Go and be of service somewhere.